All right. Here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Here, as usual, I am your meteorologist for the evening, Cloud Hudson. And I realize I usually say comedian slash meteorologist, but I don't really make a whole lot of jokes on here. You'll just have to trust me that this all is just like a very meta joke for you and for me, because it's a joke that this is what I do. It is really what I do. I'm serious about that, but many people think that that's a joke, so I'm leaning into it. I'm embracing it. Can't call me a joke if I'm calling myself a joke. Okay, let's get into today's weather tonight. Actually, we're gonna review the weather from the eclipse yesterday to start off because I didn't do a update on the eclipse for you guys or the night before, just because it was a little uh, spicy and dicey for me and for a lot of people for this eclipse in Aries. It is in my sixth house of health and stuff, so I don't have to say much more about what it's been, how that eclipse has gone for me. It's been quite a interesting time. Um, but here I am, alive and well, making it. Uh, yeah, we're making it. Let's get into talking about the weather, shall we? Because that's always a fun, shallow topic that nobody gets upset over. Okay. Today we are looking at continued eruption at Lewitobi's Laki Laki volcano outlet. Lewitobi is the mountain complex, and Laki Laki is the specific crater out of the crater series in the Mount Lewitobi that is actively erupting. That's the one where they have been in a dangerous eruption stage for a few months now and had about they had a small town evacuated downstream of the lava there. It is still continuing to progress with volcanic type eruptions generating dense gray ash, releasing tephra, and having some reported seismic signals. But the real fun big story here is Fernandina, the Galapagos island off the coast of Ecuador that is erupting. The lava flow has officially reached the ocean, which is now forming what is something called laze. I know that's kind of a lazy way to name lava haze, but okay, I got you one joke in there. Me finding out what they call the haze that forms when lava and seawater meet. That's a pretty lazy way to name something. Okay. There, that's a pretty lazy joke there, Cloudy. All right. And this is a pretty lazy cloud. I mean, this is probably the laziest kind of cloud there is. Not notwithstanding. Lava haze clouds or lays are can be it's no laughing matter. They can be quite toxic. These lazy clouds can be quite toxic. Oh man. If you just let them sit around a while, they'll sink into. And what a great metaphor for what we've got going on with such a strong showing of planets in Pisces and Aries right now. I think lava haze is definitely the toxic cloud that's formed when seawater and highly sulfuric lava meet. Creates, I think it's sulfuric acid is one of the byproducts of the mixture of the off-gassing lava and seawater, and that can get very toxic in to the air, to the fish, to people that breathe it in. So this is not, even though it looks like a sauna, looks like a nice little steam bath, don't go there. Don't go to the Galapagos today. Okay. We've still got Samiru and Dukono with some discrete ash emissions and continuous volcanic ash emissions. And Santiaguito continues to explode. Fuego, also Nevado de Luis in Colombia, has observed activity in Sabancaya and has intermittent emissions now. So we're not looking at too much. But let's see if they've got the Etna volcano update on here, because Mount Etna has been putting off a really cool series of smoke rings for the past 5 days, I believe, since like April 3rd or 4th. The mountain has been producing smoke rings, and how that happens is the same way that smoke rings are produced in out of your mouth when you're smoking. You have like one large, flat, even distribution of a pushing the air out behind it. So Etna is blowing smoke rings all across the sky right now. I bet that, it would have looked really cool if the eclipse went over that, but the path of totality didn't intersect with where Mount Etna is. It is not uncommon. It's kind of uncommon to get perfect smoke rings for days on end, but it's not something we've never seen before. It happens all the time. You can do this underwater. If you just let out a gasp of air underwater deep enough, you'll see it, and at an even enough rate, you'll get to see it. And if you can blow smoke rings, you'll get to do this. Basically, what you need is like a big, even puff distributed from like a circular aperture, and that would be like, whichever crater is puffing out these rings right now probably has a nice circular aperture that's getting an even distribution of air pressure behind it, like boom, 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 like a drum beating. It's kind of like if drums had smoke machines on top of them. If drums had fog machines constantly pouring on top of them, you would get to see a lot more smoke rings kicked out of bass drums. But we don't see that because we don't adequately fog concerts anymore. That's neither here nor there. But I do want to... Okay, the Baca Nuova crater. They did have some explosive eruptions, and they've had an increase in volcanic tremors, indicating a rapid magma flux to the surface through the conduit. They returned to medium levels, but the rings are still puffing. So, the volcanic vortex rings are just a really cool thing that you get to see sometimes. Mount Etna is showing off right now, I think because everybody's been looking at the Reykjanes Peninsula. And that's probably because we did see over the weekend on Sunday, we saw the edge of the main crater vent collapse in on itself, and that broke the level down of what was holding back the big lava soup. That crashed on its side, and the lava started spilling out everywhere in a steady lava tongue. Now, that tongue has since thermally eroded the crater wall underneath it. So, like, this pile of spatter cone wasn't structurally sound enough to be, like, solid rock. It's like a porous rock made out of porous rock. So it was really holy to begin with. It was very spongy to begin with. So it didn't really last that long as this lava tongue. But this is what it looked like at the time when it was oozing out over that cracked rim of this spatter cone. And I believe, and some other observers believe, that the spatter cone gave way in this area because there had been a little escape hole here at the bottom of the crater where lava hadn't been overtopping the spatter cone and had been slowly leaking out of the bottom into this range. But as it leaked out, it slowly built up a hill of lava that wasn't flowing away fast enough that it covered up its own exit hole right here. And that started to thermally erode when you couldn't have an exit hole here anymore. There was just an area where there was a hole of lava through the side that wasn't getting out. So above that hole, eventually the wall eroded and there was enough backup. Like, also, the lava wasn't oozing out anywhere. So in this leaky tank problem, we have now turned off the exit half of the equation. So we've only got inputs. So the whole tank was filling up a little bit faster than it was before the hole got clogged up. So now we had to make a new hole on the top. It spilled out over the top. Gosh, I hope this is making sense, and I hope it's entertaining, because I don't know. I'm feeling like, do you guys like this? Is this good for you? Are you enjoying the explanation? Oh, here's another image of that southern flank of Lewotolo Island, and the littoral cones building up here on the coast of what is this one called? That's the Fernandina. That's coast of Fernandina. Yes. Fernandina is the one that's creating the lays or lava haze. Rearcast Peninsula Sununka Crater series is the one that is currently creating the Iceland volcano tongue. Still looking at random earthquakes in the area. Let's take a look at their most recent updates. Oh, they haven't even updated us since we went down to the one and only crater. I do like seeing... Okay, so here you can see the little side flow area I was talking about. How I was talking about how this hole got blocked. This got clogged up. So that meant that this crater top had to overflow. This, where I'm pointing with the mouse, is the little section of wall that eroded down and got overtopped by that like gorgeous waterfall of lava. And now currently I don't believe there is, let's see, I did I thought I bookmarked a live feed of Rearcast. Hold on, let me just hide this really quick while I look for one. I swear I bookmarked it, but maybe it's on my other browser. Okay. It's not quite as impressive as it's been anymore, but I'll turn it back on for you guys. Okay. This is the current eruption that is, I mean, it's the middle of the night there. It's also really foggy, and seems like all the cameras are a little misty right now. But you can see we've still got some eruptive activity out of the top of the one and only crater. Look at that. It's showing off now that we're watching. And there is a little bit of infrared. You can see that a little bit. Let's look at the Svartsengi camera. Oh, that's not showing much. That's showing actual Svartsengi. And that's showing Hagafell. Lengerhiger is showing a far away version. Okay, this is a little bit better. You can see the river of lava is still getting active input from the crater, but it's just the one and only lone crater erupting right now. So let's talk about earthquakes. Who out there is excited to talk about some earthquakes? Let's take a look at Earthquake 3D. Earthquake 3D. Now in 3D. Earthquakes now in 3D. Let's take a look at where our major earthquakes are 4 and over. Oh, I don't even know if we can count 4 as major. Let's look at 5 and overs in the past 3 days, I'm sorry. Since we last spoke on Saturday. We've had, don't you jump around on me. Okay. We've had a series of earthquakes here in, I believe there's a volcano here, north of India that has started having some eruptive effects. And we're looking at, jeez, come on, guys. I sweat. I said that and that. Okay. Look at all the 5s. 4.8 and 9 are still on there. I guess you squeezed in. We had a 6 here. The 6 in central Philippines, followed by a 4 corners, kind of looking like a dice of 5.0, 5.2, 5.0. And these are all at similar depths. Let's see. We also saw a bouquet, a veritable bouquet of both very deep and very shallow 5.0 earthquakes centered around. Let's take the quake rings down just a little bit. Okay. Looks like they're centered around Fiji and the Vanuatu Islands, Tonga. Our breaking wave. I always say this looks like a wave cresting, and that means that it's got some angular momentum that really wants to move things vertically. Now, when we put on our smaller quakes too, you see, we're not even talking tremors here. We're talking just a constant hum of 4s and 5s in this area. So don't be surprised when this births even more higher grade stuff. And speaking of birthing some momentum into the planet, we've got a 4.5 and a 3.4 off the coast of Australia and a 3.4 on the other coast. Those are well into the middle of the plate. So probably on some fault lines there, but interesting that they came that far off of the border of the quake boundary. Also interesting because that is the antipode of New Jersey, where we just had that other quake. Let's see. Continuing on, we had all these quakes over here in China, and looks to me like we should be seeing them here in Iran and Turkey. That's usually when we've got them in Greece. When we've got them here, and here. Where are my plate boundaries again? Come on, plate boundaries. Go back to this view. Okay. I don't know where my plate boundaries got turned off, but no, let's go back a few days looking at majors. Yeah, I would say looks like we got some 5s here, 4s here, 5 here, 5 here. I think it looks like we're missing some in the middle. So maybe something, well, in the past week we had some in the middle. I don't know. I'm not a forecaster. I'll just tell you what happened. What happened is this is where we've seen all of our action in the past week. 5.0s, all across the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Several major earthquakes throughout South and Central America. And would you look at that? A full tracing out of the North American craton. Now, I'm going to take the rings down a little. No, look at this. Look at this. Looks like the rings kind of skipped right over an area that's currently getting hit by a lot of severe weather. And also the path of totality goes from the eclipse, went right through this area, but has not spurred. I'm not saying this was caused by the eclipse. I mean, this is only the things happened since the eclipse. This is really something that is since last Friday, when we had that 3.5 up in New Jersey. That's when we have seen this really full target of earthquakes all throughout the southeast. No, take it, all of them and all of them. Okay, you're not going to show me again? Okay. Sometimes this thing likes to punk me out. But really, we see kind of a backwards as we run back through the dates. It looks like we're leading up to, you see how the energy spreads from being all over to, it's going east to west, but west to east, I'm sorry. And we've still got a continued hum of 1.5 type aftershocks in that middle of New Jersey area. But interestingly enough, we've got some here in Tennessee, in eastern Tennessee and Kentucky. That would be 2.0 at 2 kilometers depth. Those are shallow. Those 4 kilometers depth, 12. But a 2.0 at 2 kilometers depth, that is pretty shallow. I want to know the, come back here. I was just going to ask for your Latin lawn. Okay, there we go. There we go. Bryson City. Oh, yeah, that was the one that we went over on Saturday. Bryson City continued really close to a lot of important places. Like the Great Smoky National Park, the Nantahala National Forest, and right there on the North Carolina-Tennessee border. Yeah. Oh, I didn't show that on OBS. Hold on. Yeah, that's where this Tennessee earthquake is from. So, yeah, I really love how YouTube definitely knows how to put my stream out there, because that one time that my mic was off, like 50 people saw it. And now that I'm talking about really important stuff, nobody sees it. That's cool. I don't mind. Speaking of really cool stuff that people may or may not see, let's take a look at our atmosphere, because right now we've got an actively severe, we're at a moderate risk, slight risk, and marginal risk of severe storms, and that has proved to be pretty fruitful today, as we've seen a lot of extremely strong storms. Y'all, look at this. This is up to 60 miles an hour and hail up to 1.25 inches. That is, I forget what size hail, but that's big hail. That's like, is that golf ball size? I think that's golf ball size, 1.25 inch. And 60 mile per hour winds, that's near, that is close to here, let's see if we got this in 3D. I can't even show you. Okay. Let's see this baby rock in 3D. This is a projection of the reflectivity of vertically, like a histogram of reflectivity, kind of, that moves with the storm. So it doesn't mean that the clouds are in the shape of these points. It means that this is our graph roughly smoothing all of the reflectivity DBZs into kind of a vertical or spatial histogram of, you know what I'm saying. It's not the real shape of the clouds. This is the real distribution of the intensity of the reflectivity. Let's go back to... Whoa. All right. But yeah, when we're looking at this really bowed out C-shaped, or I guess really question mark shaped type of cloud structure. Hold on. I don't know how to do that fast enough. So that means it's a really fast wind. This is a really fast wind coming from like Monroe over across the Mississippi to Canton to Philadelphia, Mississippi. This is really, oh, my hand's going backwards. This is a really fast wind in one direction, and that's what's causing that really clear bowing out shape. That means that it is a doozy of winds. I would expect wind speeds to be over 60 miles per hour there, honestly. We're getting such high reflectivity. It's even peaking into the cyan range. Look at that. We're registering at such bonkers levels. That is a massive, massive storm. And even if that is not technically a tornado, let's take a look at our... do we have velocity on this? I'm going to have to go to a single site radar to get a velocity on this. Fortunately, we're right near Jackson. Yeah, look at that. What? Absolutely gnarly. Gnarly. Let's take a look at this in... in velocity. Yeah, I mean, that is just super wicked fast. It's not even making a velocity couplet, though having a void out in front of it, I bet you could argue it might be acting that way. Let's take a look at our correlation coefficient to see if it looks like it has a debris ball. I guess you can't really see from this side. Let's pick a different radar site. Let's see if this radar site... Oh, yeah, on this radar site, that looks like a debris ball. Let's see if the velocity... Well, it doesn't really read as a couplet too much on the velocity, but that's a hard call to make. That's a hard call to make from that far out of the ring. It's like not even in where you can calculate storm relative velocity from. So I don't know. That's hard to say. But wherever you are in Philadelphia, Mississippi, that's got to be scary. That is a gnarly looking storm right there. Yeah. That's like well into the ginormous hail category. That is, let's take a look at, yeah, I mean, this might actually be a scarier view. This has got it isolated more. The Jackson radar kind of sees this as part of this big whole system, but if this is an isolated cell and it looks like it's trying to hook back on itself, that could be a doozy of a tornado if it spins. No, that's all compressing inwards. That's all compressing inwards. I don't like that. I don't like the look of that at all. I don't like the look of this one either. Also peeking out in the cyan range of our... I mean, y'all, we don't usually even get into the magenta area. Hence why I only put red, green, and yellow in my hair, because we don't usually even get into magenta. And this is several frames in a row. We are not even just peeking into the cyan. We are fully in the cyan. So that is really scary reflectivity radar in Philadelphia. Does not seem like a city of brotherly love right now. Seems like a city of scary, terrifying, possible tornado producing big bow storms. That's that is looks like a tornado that's practically gift wrapped for me. Like, I don't do live severe weather forecasting or narration. Well, I guess I do narrate the weather. I just tell you what's happening, and it looks gnarly. It could be just a big bow echo like the Jackson, or I guess it's in Brandon, Mississippi, radar is looking like. But yeah, the one in Columbus has this looking more isolated with a hook echo near Walnut Grove. Looking like a little shrimp, and not in a way that's diminutive, in a way that is very scary. Yeah, that's as this moves into Philadelphia, Carthage, Philadelphia, DeKalb. Wow. That, I mean, well, it is compressing down a little bit. We really maxed out near Walnut Grove in reflectivity, and then looking like we're compressing in a little bit. But I wonder if that's not from a debris signature, which, let's take a look at this. Where's our correlation coefficient? Yeah. I don't know. It looked like the correlation coefficient kind of dropped there, or like increased back to closer to nominal. So you want the correlation coefficient to be as close to 0 or 1 as you can, but a very diverse one means probably a debris ball. This looks like maybe we were even seeing a reading on the hail as, like, we had a really diverse size of hail, and possibly hail just got dumped all over Walnut Grove, and now there is only a remainder. Like, if there was a really wide correlation coefficient because all the hail was really different sizes, and then, let's say, this upper segment of hail, the upper diameter, dropped out, you'd only be left with this. So that means that your wide correlation coefficient would crunch down. That's my theory. That's my literally just making it up right now theory of why we would see CC go down as the storm compresses in and gets stronger. But I'm thinking that, yeah, maybe this had a very wide range of hail at one point when it went over Walnut Grove. And then when it went over Walnut Grove, we have gotten back down to a more uniform storm. But I don't like the uniformity because that, I don't know, it's getting less bean-like as it goes on. It was bowing out for a while, and now it's a little less bean-like. We're still looking at a really gnarly cell down here, but not as scary as it looked at first. Let's look back here in Monroe. Louisiana looking nasty as always. Let's see if our middle of nowhere Alexandria radar can show us much. We are looking at a lot of severe weather still, especially all the way from Austin to, yeah. So really from San Antonio, from Laredo to from the border, basically, we are having active severe thunderstorm warnings, hail 2.5 inches. That's like softball size hail, and see the size of that? That's softball size hails. Winds over 50 miles an hour, but they don't really. It's not. It's a special weather statement. Let's see what they said. Oh, you're not going to show me. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, San Antonio, you're looking bad too. 1 inch hail warnings, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Braunfels, I always thought it was New Brazzles. Yeah, San Antonio, you're getting slammed right now. I wouldn't want to be overlooking the bridges in that city right now. Let's see. Do we have... Can I look at Echo Tops in 3D? Yeah, this one will look more like, slightly more like the shape of the storm. Those are giant Echo Tops here as we get back towards Laredo. But let's look at this in motion. This is how high the storm's really... This is really more shapely. Let's see. Let's see if we have that. Do we have that view from... No, we don't have that view from here. See if we have... I think we have that view from here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we can look at the storm passing through Louisiana that way. And that's our radar hole, or that's the cone of where we can't see it. Let's see if Jackson will give us Echo Tops. I don't remember if it has 3D for this. Yes. Okay, maybe it'll show this storm. No, it's getting sucked up into that hole. I think the Birmingham. Yeah, this recap has gone off the rails because I got distracted by the active severe weather. Whoops. I'm talking about weather on a radar show. Or radar on a weather show. Hold the phone. All right. Now, that really peaks out in that last. Look at that. That is the really high reading that is scaring the poop out of me, but looks like it might be, maybe that was just an anomaly. Maybe that was an anomalous reading. I don't know, but hopefully everyone is okay there in the Deep South. Keep your weather radars on if you live in the Deep South, please. It is not the night to, just sleep through it. This is, I mean, God, it's nasty. That looks terrible. That's terrifying. Okay. Base velocity isn't really showing a couplet, so I'm not that scared. I mean, the one down at Forest might, I don't know. Let's take a look back in San Antonio. How are they doing? Yeah, I don't know. Even in San Antonio, in the middle of town, some of that looks like it could be trying to. Let's see. There might be. Let's see. There might be some debris blowing around in San Antonio right now. I don't know. I'm no Andy Hill. I'm no Ryan Hall. I'm not saying that I understand severe weather that well, but I am aware that I wouldn't want to be in there. Look at that outflow boundary. Oh man, look at that. It go okay. So when a storm is forming, you like a severe storm, it's like becomes its own convection cell, right? And so all the air that's moving up has to go somewhere, and there is this big blowing out of warm, hot air from the convective cell itself. Think of like the exhaust from a car. Think of a car engine. Like the exhaust has to go somewhere. The fuel that's been burnt up creating the storm has to go somewhere. So this shoots out this line of hot air. I bet if this was a thermal camera, you could see the temperature difference in this boundary. That's like a wave in the pool where you have your hand right under the surface of the water and you can just leave a rolling wave the whole time. This is the rolling wave. The crashing wave is the actual convection. But the rolling wave is that boundary out front of the storm that kind of, it will just like level all grass in one direction, and you'll feel this, it feels like standing, if you feel the warm air flowing out in front of a system like this, it feels like you're on the backside of an air conditioner and you're just getting that hot air blown in your face. That's what it's like. I guess a hairdryer is a relatable metaphor for other people, but I've never used hair dryers. I can't figure out why people like them or what they make. What's it make supposed to make your hair look like? Because I like my hair to look like this. So I don't understand why I would use a hairdryer if I can just have it look cool from the way you cut it. Maybe I'm using a hairdryer wrong. Who's to say? Some people use them to warm up their beds at night. Not me, because I'm scared, but I've heard. Anyway, look, you can see it flows all the way from like southwest of San Antonio to northwest of Austin. That whole squall line is the same rounds of energy, but kind of getting different spawn points, okay? Like in a video game, like how this is a spawn point for storms right here when it's cresting the top of the mountains down in the border region, but down in Mexico on the tops of the mountains, the storms are like born as they jump off. They get some sick air. They ramp off. These storms catch some sick air jumping off the mountains down there, and then they just kind of like skip along like rocks, like skipping rocks on a lake, and but they all spawn in different times in the day in different thermal areas. As the frontal boundary is moving through. So it's always, even if it's spawning in the same spot, it's spawning at a different value in the thermal gradient. So they have different life cycles, but you can see this is producing some whoppers, okay? It's producing some massive convection cells here. And they are going through Texas. Basically, this is through the path of the eclipse, but there's no connection there. The eclipse was yesterday. We're not saying that has anything to do with it, but there are some pretty strong cells in the same area, and that is why I didn't want to travel for this, because I thought even if it didn't. And there were no tornadoes reported on the day of the eclipse, but there was a good chance for them. And there was some severe hail from Texas to Tennessee. So, in fact, I have a storm report of that up here. Let me switch to... yeah, this is the storm report for yesterday, 4/8, and this was kind of where we saw the majority of our storms, and that kind of lines up with the path of totality, but not really, because I've got a cool image of our eclipse as it goes here. This is the actual shadow of the moon on the Earth. Let's look at it in geocolor, because that shows the reddening as well. Okay, let's see. Here you can see that while totality was right here, everywhere else got kind of a reddish nighttime sunset type of view. Like it doesn't not get dark, it just gets dark and red. It's a really cool thing, and it's a little bit, it's not the same exact process, but it's a little bit the same type of scattering that happens to make the moon red on a lunar eclipse. A solar eclipse, this red is from just the atmosphere itself, on itself, but on the lunar eclipse, it's the sunlight going through the atmosphere onto the sun, or onto the moon. Anyway, that is the area that we saw the eclipse run through, and this is where we saw severe wind and hail reports. Lots of hail reports, actually. And we were thinking we'd see tornadoes, but not much, which was surprising, because let's take a look. This is our 3-day, you can see that is the eclipse, 3-day derived winds, CONUS goes 16 product. And you see this storm has just been swirling ever since the eclipse. Honestly, this western limb since the eclipse had been trying to meet up with this swirling section in the Gulf. And they're starting to finally connect in the upper levels here. The mid-levels, excuse me. Our mid-levels have been trying to converge underneath where we've had that upper-level divergence. So, convergence below and divergence aloft means sucking up the air to convect into these really powerful storms that we're seeing throughout the Deep South tonight. Is that all I wanted to show you on this? Yeah, it just looks so freaking cool when you can see the eclipse go across the country like that. And see, this kind of shows you the effect it has on the storms as well. Because you saw it stirred things up, but it more gave a false nightfall in the middle of the day for just one area. And that alone shows you, it goes, whoa, I didn't get my peak daytime heating. Everything's a little bit mushy in the middle. And then those two sides of the area that didn't get total eclipsed seem to be smushing together a little. It's almost like they got stirred up a little bit so they could moosh together and create this big outbreak. It'll be really interesting when it's all said and done to see people analyze this storm and see what effect it actually had on here, because I know that there were multiple flights of planes and weather balloons released probably during the eclipse that would be monitoring what it did vertically. So that's really neat. I know it's been consistently raining here in the southern Appalachians and since then, and so that makes a lot of sense, because we've finally gotten this Pacific jet to connect to the Gulf of Mexico stream, and that's just a rainmaker that spells rainmaker for this area very strongly. I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of April showers this April. That's just what is shaping up to happen already. Okay, so from the atmosphere, I'm on the right one. From the atmosphere, we've got, hold on, make sure chat is working. My chat just never makes sounds, and so I'm like, uh-oh, did I miss anybody? There's been 8 views, but I don't think I've missed any chats, so stop being shy. Y'all can say hi. Okay. Um, okay. Let's talk about our solar weather. Let's go to today's CMEs. Ooh, we have a big uptick in coronal mass ejections. We only had like a few on the 6th. We had like 5, like 3 or 4. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the 7th, and we had only 3 coronal mass ejections on the 8th. One of them looked to be pretty severe, but I think from a non-Earth facing side of the sun. But then today we've had like 7, 8. Let's take a look at some of these. They look really short and well defined in one direction. They've been short and sweet, short and fast. Yeah. Oh, they're talking about the wavy patterns appearing during eclipse totality. I won't go into this right now, but that is a really fun phenomenon that people have talked about. Let's see if they have any good pictures. Shadow bands. Okay, they're not talking about. No, these are just sun nerds figuring out what interference patterns are. So these are our active regions. There was a really strong corona on the day of the eclipse, so everybody that saw it saw a really good showing. Our solar proton flux levels look pretty nominal still. And we've been in really low solar flare conditions for the past 3 days. Like, actually, way longer than the past 3 days. I think for the past 5 or 6 days, we've had below sea level flare activity. We only barely poked into the seas a little bit once today. I think that indicates, a time of obviously low X-ray flux towards Earth. But I'm thinking maybe this is another outbreath, another pause in the solar downloads, and we're about to have a lot of Earth activity, Earth downloads with that. Some people say solar flares higher makes more earthquakes, and some people have said that lower solar flares will let the Earth take care of its own vibes. So, really, what I'm just telling you is what I'm noting, and there's no noteworthy space weather right now, other than we're having really low X-ray flux. Still looks really pretty though, and we got to see some visible filament prominences during the eclipse. Let's see if anybody else has better. Oh, that's a great one. Somebody hasn't uploaded it yet, but there were 4 different prominences you could see during the eclipse. At least. We have this one, this one, this one, and this one. And those we don't usually talk about live too much, but we got some sunspot images. Very cool. Very cool. Well, that's nice. That's pretty good. These sun nerds are a fun bunch to stalk their little forum. I really like the ones on this camera though. I hope they post those high quality somewhere. That's really nice. But yeah, that's the kind of thing you can see with a good camera or telescope during the eclipse. Now let's talk about the eclipse from a planetary perspective. Obviously, We have a ongoing Mars Saturn conjunction in the middle of Pisces at 14 degrees Pisces. That is opposite to, or roughly opposite to, Black Moon Lilith in Virgo. We've also got the Sun just made, in addition to yesterday being the eclipse, the Sun also was conjoined Chiron, the planet of the wounded healer, or the asteroid planet of the wounded healer, in Aries at 19 degrees. It's currently at 20 degrees. Venus is in Aries at 6 degrees, hanging out beautifully there. Also, Mercury is retrograde in Aries, headed back towards a conjunction with the Sun. So that's part of what a retrograde cycle is how the lining up of the planets that are both inside and outside of the Sun from us switch from being between us and the Sun and behind the Sun. All the other planets will just always ever be behind the Sun, but sometimes, like Venus and Mercury, go in between us. All planets have retrograde motion too. It's just that with Mercury and Venus, you see it in a... It's just different because they're always in our view. We always see where they are, so it's a different point of their... That's why it seems like those are retrograde more often, because they have to be, in order to have completed their cycles, they have to be moving faster than the Earth. And that's why they appear to go backwards, is because there are times when they're moving so much faster and so much slower than the Earth that they're actually lapping the Earth, and they're on the backside. They need to go into the fire. And Mercury is definitely under the beams right now. It's very much getting engulfed and heading towards that conjunction, which will be kind of the inflection point, at which point it'll continue to retrograde, reach its maximum retrogradation, and then start moving direct again once we're in Taurus season, I believe. So, yeah, and we've got the moon in a very well positioned moon in Taurus, with the ever rapidly approaching Jupiter and Uranus conjunction in Taurus, right around the corner. The moon is about to join those two. So the moon is currently, everything... How do I say this? Everything in Aries is looking through Venus to... Venus in Aries is looking to Taurus. Everything in Aries is looking through Mars into Jupiter into Taurus. I'm not making sense. There's traditional rulers and dispositors, and that's something I don't fully understand yet, but I know that the planets look at who is the ruler of that sign, or who is the one who takes care of things there while they're in that sign. So this all this Sun and Mercury action and moon action has been looking to the ruler of Aries, which is Mars conjoining Saturn in Pisces right now. So it's giving that flavor to all the Aries things. They're behaving as if Mars is the teacher watching the class. And everything in Pisces is looking towards the traditional ruler of Pisces, which is Jupiter in Taurus. And everything in Jupiter in Taurus, or everything in Taurus, like Jupiter and Uranus, are looking to where Venus is in Aries. So Aries is a little debilitated in Venus is a little debilitated in Aries, and just coming off of a sextile with Pluto, but I still like Venus in Aries because she's got pizzazz, she's got spunk, she's got moxie. She's not gonna let Pisces season slow her down. It's spring, god damn it. It's time for Venus to do fun stuff. And then she'll actually have a fun time once it's Taurus time. But Venus in Taurus is lovely. But Venus in Aries is, we're gonna make the best of this. We're gonna have fun, god damn it. That's the energy of Venus in Aries. I have Venus in Aries, so it's kind of like, what? Why are you crying? This is hilarious. It's the energy of like, I don't see why everyone was upset at my joke. I thought it was so funny, and it happened to me, not even them. so somebody telling a very sad joke, and Venus in Aries tells a very sad joke because it cheered her up, and is very confused at why it made everybody else very sad and upset. Or maybe I'm just projecting, but that's definitely been my experience, having a lot of planets in Taurus, Aries, and Pisces. Seems to be, I'm sorry, did my reality upset you? Maybe I should tone it down. I'm gonna have to feel the feelings if we don't all do it. I've always felt the feelings for all of us. That's cool. All right. I'm on a regime change. I'm on a new medicine to try to make me less of a dangerous, a loose cannon, we'll say that to make it fun. I'm trying to become less of a loose cannon right now, so sometimes that might make me a little too chill with what I'm saying. So if it's not funny, sorry, I'm just not a loose cannon cop that doesn't play by the rules anymore. Not even a cop, I never was. I'm just a loose cannon. Welcome everybody who's watching me talking about Venus and Aries and being a loose cannon. It's also honestly really fun to have Venus in a fire sign again that is not Sagittarius or Leo, because the last time Venus was in those signs, it was also a little chaotic. And we were talking about, it is a Mars day and we're in a Mars hour, so that is our planetary weather of the day. Next hour we're looking at is sun hour in 10 minutes. And it is pretty martial day out there today, as you can see. Let's go back to checking on our atmosphere. Let's see. What's our current reading from the Jackson radar? We have this very stormy squall line. That is a squall line. And there's two bowing out segments near near Forest, Mississippi, and near Philadelphia, Mississippi. And it looks like this one has fortunately spun itself off, and this is now looking like one to watch, but I think both of them are gonna go for that like bow and arrow shape, like the arrow bow shape. I don't mean like a curlicue bow, which is terrible for straight line damaging winds, but great news for not spinning off a tornado. So that is it was a pretty good forecast to have such high risks in these areas. We are looking at some nasty weather from San Antonio all the way through the Houston area into northern Louisiana and central Mississippi. Arkansas kind of got away scot-free tonight. We've been in pretty okay shape in, did I say Arizona? I meant Arkansas. Arkansas has gotten away pretty scot-free tonight. But that they've been right hammered by a lot of stuff recently, so they better have a break. Really looks like Jackson, Mississippi is seeing the bulk of it. Everything's coming for Birmingham, but once it gets out of Mississippi, it usually is late enough at night that it won't keep being in such a high reading. But yeah, you never know. It could strengthen yet, but I mean, yeah, really, I don't know what happens between Walnut Grove and Forest, but they really ramped up right between Carthage and Philadelphia and Forest and Newton, and then both of them have kind of subsided once they got over this little hump. So that might be a terrain change that is kind of stirring them up and then letting them down. But we do have several watches and warnings. I mean, just because we're not looking at tornadoes actively on the ground necessarily doesn't mean there's nothing out there. I mean, and I still can't say if those are actively tornadoes or not. I am a meteorologist, but this isn't my specialty. My specialty is in atmospheric optics, not actually radar. So, I mean, this looks like it could have a velocity couplet signature on it, but that might just be the wake between the two systems feeding in. It might be looping back on itself that could be a little inflow notch there. So I think that this Decatur storm is where we are looking at the worst storm right now. The one that moved through here, through Philadelphia, packed out some really high echo top values, but didn't have a strong velocity couplet on it. This one, it looks like the inflow is not quite as strong as the outflow, but I don't know. Again, this is kind of in the part of this radar triangle that we can't get a great look at velocity because it's just too far away from these other two sites, and it's on the downwind side of Jackson. See, that's what moved through, and that one makes it look like this one's not even that bad, but let's see if these picked up any debris in their correlation coefficient. Let's see. As we move through here, I mean, not really. Kinda. This is looking a little dicey, but let's see. I mean, specific differential's strong. But I'm not seeing the rotation on it. I'm just not seeing the rotation. But I am seeing, well, I don't want to speak too soon. I don't want to speak too soon, and then here at Union, they come and unite. Yeah, no, that is trying to be an inflow notch, but it's not really doing... Well, there we go. Okay, so you did see a bit of this curve. Here, let's step through this. As we're in this frame, looks like out ahead of here, don't have much correlation. And then as we march forward, this is the little... this is where I'm seeing some curvature. Yeah, and you see this is trying to be an inflow notch that wraps around the sickle shape of green, but as we march forward, it looks like it's not able to sustain its inflow. It looks like these two sections are getting a little separated from each other. So maybe it won't be able to sustain anything coming in, but I spoke too soon on saying not seeing rotation, because I am kind of seeing some of this, like, hand arcing. Like, imagine if your hand was in a pool splashing water. This would be your hand kind of curving. Storm relative curvature. Actually, let's take a look at storm relative velocity. Okay, where'd my... So that was the Philadelphia one that passed through, and then we got the one here in Decatur. Let's see. Yeah. I don't know. Not looking too... I mean, it looks gnarly, but I don't think... I don't know if it's actually on the ground. But we don't have any warnings issued, so I'm going to count that as nope. We are safe. It's just a very nasty-looking storm right now. But as we look out at the entire area, we've got a lot of nasty storm moving through, and that is a lot of rain. That is a crap ton of rain. So yeah, these flood warnings are in the right spot. These severe thunderstorm warnings are in the right spot, and we're not even out of the woods for the rest of the South. I mean, we're just starting the storms in western Tennessee here. Let's see. Gonna give me a reading? No? Don't want to show me? My computer might be overheating. I don't usually put it through this much. I don't think it's overheating. I don't hear it trying to blast off or anything, but I am on an encoding overloaded. Continue turning down your volume settings. Okay. Turn down my volume settings. Will that help your encoding overload? I forgot to put the title on this one. Where's the title? Gotta bring that to the front. Order. That's it. Here we go. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know why this isn't. Hello? Only want to give me single site radar right now? Severe thunderstorm, severe thunderstorm, severe thunderstorm. Let's see. Yeah, we're looking at some storms rolling through Tennessee as well as northern Alabama tonight and into tomorrow. That is some heavy, heavy rain. That is some water, everybody. Do I have PWAT on here? Or I have vertically integrated liquid, not precipitable water. It doesn't even want to show me anything. That's bullshit. Let's look at base reflectivity. No. Now let's see what they say about this storm down here. Yeah, that Philadelphia one looked gnarly and then dissipated. This also looks a little gnarly, but might dissipate. Okay. Well, I think that is enough for me for tonight because there are many other great YouTubers covering this storm coverage live, and I kind of want to watch them, so I'm going to. cosmic weather? I hesitate to even ask, but I'm going to. Going to do a short little reading for our cosmic weather. What's coming in? What is this eclipse season all about? What are we doing with this? What is this here? What's all this then? Oh, it's the Empress. That's what's coming in? That's not even, that's the Empress upright, y'all. That's juicy. That's abundant, fertile, juicy. Taurus season. This is the moon in Taurus about to conjoin Jupiter. This is a great omen. Really good card to pull in the middle of spring. Kind of looks like my hair, no? Maybe a little bit. It's only red, green, and yellow. It's queen sitting on a throne of red carpet, sitting on the red carpet with a heart that contains the symbol for Venus in the middle of a field of wheat in front of a lush forest, holding a scepter and wearing a crown of 6 or 7 pointed stars. Crown of 6 pointed stars. And wearing roses on the dress. And a pearl necklace. So, all of those things. This is a very sexy, lush, abundant card. So, that's actually kind of awesome for energy coming in from the universe today. Maybe you don't have to feel so doom and gloom about it. Maybe we just had to have a little bit of a death of a feeling or of a thing or of a vibe to fertilize the new ground. Yeah, I'm getting fertile ground. I'm getting, these are April showers bring May flowers, you know? We're gonna, and hopefully not the kind with pilgrims, or maybe the kind with real pilgrims and not with conquistadors masquerading as pilgrims. Maybe the April showers will bring a beautiful, bountiful harvest in May. I'm going to get a card from the other two decks just to pair off with that. Because there's so many ways the Empress can go. I don't want to be too optimistic here. See what the liminal space has for us. Oh, okay. That's an interesting one. We got one that says, "This is not a dream." This is not a dream. And it's actually got tornado sirens as blaring. This is not a dream. Pretty funny considering we're looking at some severe weather today. Let's look at... This is not a dream, but you still need to wake up. Trauma can cause disassociation from both the positive and the negative. Creating a paradise in your mind is easy. Grounding it into this realm is revolutionary. Stay on Earth to avoid being surprised by consequences later on. So, Stop running away from pain signals just because you don't want them to be there. Okay? They're going to be there. You got to figure out what they are, or you're just going to feel a lot of pain a long time. You got to wake up. You got to wake up. It's time to wake up. Me, time to wake up. You, time to wake up. Pisces season is over. We are waking up now. We are not delusional and thinking that things will just become a lush, fertile reality without breaking down something from the past. Okay? We gotta wake up. Gotta wake up. This is not a dream. Things can be dreamy, but this reality is real. It's not like it's the only one, but just because there are other realities doesn't mean that this one isn't real. This one is currently real. It's very real. So, don't, yeah. Don't fuck it up. Last but not least, I'm going to do my positivity deck, affirmation deck. Still don't know if this is just like cards that are so powerful they don't reveal themselves to me yet, or if this is just full of duplicates, but we'll see. Okay. Through the corridor of my joy is the pathway to my desire. Most say, when I get that, I will be joyful. But you must be joyful first. You must start with the determination that I will not settle for less than a good feeling. So, there we have it. Follow your joy to understand your desire. And don't try to numb out your pain, because you'll numb out your joy as well, and you'll get really lost and confused when you can't feel your joy or your desire. So, gotta feel it, gotta feel it, gotta feel it. Okay? I'm not gonna feel all of your emotions for you either. I need to feel mine, and you need to feel yours. And then we'll figure out, through that pathway of joy, what we're creating, what we desire together. We'll find conference. We'll find a confluence of joy in a pathway of desire. Okay. So that is what I've got for you tonight. These are 3 incredibly beautiful and optimistic and hopeful cards, I believe, that mean that if we just wake up, if we wake up, we'll be able to birth something beautiful. We're maybe in pregnancy right now. We're pregnant with the future. And maybe we're in a pretty late trimester with it, and it's uncomfortable. But we are birthing the future together by the process of waking up. Okay. So that's all I've got for y'all today. Thank you so much for sticking around for the extended update tonight. I love you very much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Bye.